autumn day in 2005, my dad came home from work to see my mom in a peculiar state. She had meticulously unloaded and stacked all of our groceries for the week in a circle, and was sitting in the center looking distressed. My father, quite concerned, asked her what was going on, at which point she pulled out a notepad and began listing the price of every single item, down to the cent. She then informed my dad what she could have gotten the same products for had she purchased store-brand products or shopped at one of the discount stores in our area. The price difference was quite large. You see, that month my parents had started WIC. My dad wasn't finished with college and was working full-time. My mother was at home with 3 children under the age of 10. They needed a little help and decided to get it, but they were quickly disappointed. My mother, the second of 7 children of a stay-at-home mom and a teacher, knew how to budget. She knew how to grocery shop cheap and efficient. She knew how to feed a big family without breaking the bank. Upon starting WIC, she learned that the government did not know how to do the same. My parents, although they needed the help, had a serious discussion and decided that, because they had my mother's excellent cooking and budgeting skills, it was better to be a little tight and save their fellow Americans some money than be forced to buy fancier products than they really felt they needed. I am unsure how WIC works in 2025, but in 2005, you were only allowed to shop at certain grocery stores, and you were only allowed to buy name brands. Now, I know why that is. These big brands have deals with the federal government. But despite the reasons, we are spending a lot more of taxpayers' money than we really need to. I want to clarify. I'm not trying to shame anyone who receives benefit from the government. WIC, SNAP, and food stamps help millions of Americans get back on their feet, and I'm happy for my money to go towards their success. But we could be doing it better. For example, an 8-ounce can of Hunt's brand tomato sauce costs $1.50 at my local Walmart. An 8-ounce can of the store brand Great Value tomato sauce costs 48 cents. By requiring Americans using WIC and similar programs to buy name brands only, we are costing taxpayers $1.02 more per can of tomato sauce. And of course, tomato sauce isn't the only grocery a family needs. These restrictions are too harsh, but at the same time, other restrictions really aren't harsh enough. I recently saw a TikTok of a woman saying she bought steak and salmon on her EBT card. I was genuinely shocked. At my local Walmart, the cheapest option for salmon is $5.24 per pound, and the cheapest option for steak is $10.24 per pound. Meanwhile, chicken breasts are $2.57 per pound at the same store and offer the same amount of protein for less cholesterol and fat. How are such expensive and unnecessary products being paid for by taxes? Similarly, earlier this year when the Department of Health and Human Services said they were starting to restrict what food, particularly sweets, snacks, and sodas, could be purchased by SNAP beneficiaries, I was flabbergasted. You mean to tell me that my tax dollars were going towards children being fed soda? Soda has no nutritional value. We don't even allow it in most schools anymore. We clearly have some kind of perverse idea of what should and shouldn't be restricted when it comes to federal aid. Excessively expensive, unnecessary items such as salmon and steak are allowed. In addition to that, some programs require beneficiaries to only buy name brands. Both of these practices cost the average American a lot more in taxes than they would prefer, I'm sure. And simultaneously, we were allowing parents to buy soda and candy for their children on Americans' dime? This makes absolutely no sense. We are paying for things that are not only wholly unnecessary, but things that are actively poisoning our population and future generations. Now, I understand that some people have dietary restrictions. Individuals who are pescatarian should be allowed to buy seafood, and people with allergies should be allowed to buy the fancier, more expensive brands if they offer alternatives to lactose, gluten, and the like. But there's a large portion of individuals who are upset about the HHS restricting junk food because their kid deserves a treat. Maybe I'm heartless, but your kid deserves food, not treats. As I mentioned before, my family was pretty tight for a lot of my early childhood, and I did not, nor do I now, deserve a treat. I distinctly remember asking my mom to buy Pop-Tarts because I had had them at a friend's house, and she blatantly told me no. Pop-Tarts are not food, Pop-Tarts are a treat, and we could not afford treats right then. Things like that, Pop-Tarts, soda, goldfish, candy, were for special occasions like the holidays and our birthdays. It probably made my mom sad that she couldn't give her kids the same snacks the other moms gave their kids, but she didn't let it take away from her priorities. She knew we couldn't afford it, she knew it wasn't a necessity, and so she told me no. I'm not going to get very deep into this because it opens up a whole new topic, but the use of EBT, SNAP, WIC, and food stamps on brand names, luxury foods, and junk really demonstrates the amount of entitlement present in modern society. Like I said before, I am in favor of a safety net. I do not want anyone in the United States to go hungry, but it's a safety net, not a hammock. It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be aspirational. It is not supposed to get you all your needs and all your wants. It is meant to save you when you fall. Overall, I want you all to know that I'm praying for everyone who has had their benefits cut this month. I've left a few cheap, healthy, filling recipes in the description box below, so if you need them, please don't hesitate to take a look. If you really are struggling, please find a food bank. I've included a link below that will find the nearest food bank in your area. If all else fails, turn to the churches, particularly the Mormons. I know that sounds funny, but in my experience, they won't turn you away. My sister and her husband were struggling for a while, and the Mormons never turned them away, even though they weren't members. For those of you who aren't hurting, donate money or food to your local food bank, and invite people you know are struggling over for dinner. Taking away the burden of one meal can really help a lot. As always, God bless America, and truth over vindication.